Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for joining me. Today, we're going to be talking about why Black Panther matters. And before we get into that specifically, I wanted to briefly go over who Black Panther is. So, Black Panther is Marvel's first black superhero. He was created in 1966, actually before the Black Panther movement was formed. A lot of people believe that Marvel created the Black Panther due to the Black Panther movement, but that's actually not correct because he was created in 1966. The Black Panther movement started in the early 1970s, so Marvel was first. He is also the king of Wakanda. Wakanda is a fictional country that resides in the African continent. He is the wealthiest superhero in all of comic books. This is including DC. So he's richer than Batman. He's richer than Tony Stark and anyone else you could think of. He is the richest superhero. Period. Let's see. He's also the one of the smartest people in Marvel. He's in the top 10 smartest people in the Marvel universe. He is, I think he ranks 7. I'm not exactly sure which number, but I know he's in the top 10. He also has a PhD at from Oxford University. So that's pretty cool. He was going to be played by Wesley Snipes in 1992, but things fell through. I didn't really read too much into it, but Wesley Snipes was attached for years, and he kept trying to get the project off the ground, but it didn't work for whatever reason. Let's see. He was also married to Storm from the X-Men, which was a huge, monumental event in the comic books. They had met when they were children, went their separate ways. He became the king, she became an X-Men. They found each other again, rekindled their romance, and got married. It was a pretty big event. It was well written, and them two were pretty cool. And then she became a queen for some time, which was pretty nice. She was controlling the weather and fed tons of people. So it was a pretty good run that they had as a married couple. They did break up because, like in comics, no one really ever stays together. Everyone dies, comes back to life. It's a whole thing, but that's okay. Um, okay, so that's pretty much Black Panther in a bottle. All right, so the Black Panther movie comes out February 16th, which is about a month and a half away. And it's directed by Ryan Coogler, which he directed Creed and Fruitvale Station. Both have been nominated for Oscars, and I believe they won a few Golden Globes. He's an amazing director. Doesn't have too much work under his belt, but he both of his works have been very promising. He actually spearheaded the casting for this movie, and he has like a stellar cast. He has a Chadwick Boseman, sorry, Michael B. Jordan, Lupita Nyong'o, Angela Bassett, Forrest Whitaker, Sterling K. Brown, and that's just to name a few. He also has Andy Serkis coming back as Ulysses Claw, which you saw him in Age of Ultron, and he also has, and I can't remember his name. Bilbo Baggins from Lord of the Rings. Sorry, guy, I can't remember your name right now. But he's also coming back. He was recently seen in Civil War. He was some kind of director of some kind of political government agency. I'm not sure. But yeah, the movie is coming out in another month or so, and people are very excited. Marvel has been doing a stellar job with their marketing campaign. Their trailers have been released. I think they only had two trailers, a teaser and a full trailer, and they've both been really good. The posters have been amazing, and usually Marvel posters suck, and they've been very good. So whoever that team is, they need to keep that promotional team because they know exactly what they're doing. Okay, so a few years ago, I wrote a article called "Why Miles Morales Matters," and it was basically just putting key points of why I believe that Miles Morales, a version of Spider-Man that was introduced about 7, 8 years ago, maybe 10 even, was important. So this Spider-Man that was introduced, he was actually replacing the Peter Parker Spider-Man, and it wouldn't have been that big of a deal if the character wasn't of black and Hispanic descent. So Miles Morales is and was half black, half Puerto Rican from Harlem, and it was a big uproar. They thought sorry, they thought Marvel was just doing it as a publicity stunt, and they didn't really have anything thought out for that character. And in actuality, they did. He has had one of the best-selling books since he has come out. He's been integrated into the main Marvel universe with 616. So now he's actually fighting crime along the original Peter Parker, and he's an amazing character. And I made my points a few years ago of why I thought he mattered. And this video is kind of the similar thing, but for Black Panther. And again, like I said in the beginning, when I say Black Panther, I speak of the movie, because Black Panther, he's a superhero that's been around since 1966. Yet you haven't seen a movie or a television adaptation of him at all. And when I mean adaptation, I just don't mean solely him. I mean all minorities. If you just want to look at the numbers, and I'm going to use Marvel as an example. Not that they're the villains here at all, but Marvel, since the release of the original Iron Man, has released 17 movies. Now, of those 17 movies, there hasn't been a single female-led movie, or a led movie by any kind of minority. It's all been white males, white males, white males, white males, and that's not a proper representation of society. But like, if you do the math, that doesn't make any sense. How is every superhero white? Now, given when all these superheroes were created, it was a different time, and that's fine. But we're not there anymore. There should be proper representation of ourselves in these movies, in these books, in these television, in these video games, and the cinematic universe hasn't done that yet. Now, again, like I said, I'm not trying to paint Marvel as the bad guy, because I've been reading Marvel for over 10 years, over 15 years, and I've read things as far back as the 80s from both Marvel and DC, and Marvel has taken huge steps in diversifying their superhero ranks, stories, and writers. And when it comes to the Hollywood side of things, the cinematic universe is still in its infancy, but being that Black Panther is going to be the first of its kind, it's really an important event for the black community, for minorities, and for Hollywood. So also, and if you want to look at the other side of things, like DC, they have 18 movies since the Richard Donner Supermans, and one of them has a female-led role, which was Wonder Woman, and no minorities, like, of any kind. You want to count Suicide Squad, you can, I guess. There were some minorities there which were horribly written. They weren't fleshed out, and it's best we forget that movie. But and that's about it. So you look at those movies, and there's something wrong. There's a misrepresentation, like I said, of ourselves and of society. And our movies, are the medium that we consume, should reflect the audience, and right now it's not. But given that Black Panther is coming out, it needs to succeed. It needs to succeed, because we all know that Hollywood they have knee-jerk reactions. So they don't think things like this can succeed, and because of that, they don't, I guess, put an effort to distribute things like this. Perfect example, Wonder Woman. She's been trying. She is the most important female superhero that's out there, the most popular female superhero that's out there, and yet she has never had a movie or a live action adaptation of any kind. they say that it wouldn't work. A Wonder Woman movie wouldn't work. Finally, WB and Hollywood in general got their head out of their asses and made this movie and actually hired a female director, which is Patty Jenkins, which is an amazing director. She actually directed The Hurt Locker, which in my opinion is probably one of the best modern era war movies that I've ever seen. And they put her on that movie, and that movie smashed records, nominated, like just accolades all over the place for both Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins. Now, with that, they're greenlighting, sequels, and they're putting her in more promotions and highlighting her in different movies and things like that. And this needs to happen with Black Panther. I have faith in Marvel, and I believe that Marvel is doing the right thing. I've always had faith in Marvel when it comes to their movie properties. So I feel the Black Panther property is in good hands. But it needs to succeed, because if it doesn't, then they're going to have the knee-jerk reaction of saying audiences don't want to see this. Even if it was the bad writing, bad directing, or bad producing or editing, what have you, they are going to blame it on the color of our superhero skin. Like that's just what it's going to be. They're going to do that. So this movie needs to succeed. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. I feel like it's going to succeed, but it needs to, because of that, and it matters. The Black Panther movie matters because it is going to represent a part of society that hasn't been represented in the superhero genre, like, at all, ever. And barely in Hollywood as it is. Our children, we need to be able to look at these movies and see ourselves, not only by the moral compass that we might share with them, or the morale that we might share with them, the emotions of relationships that we might share in common with these characters, but also the way they look. It's just something that needs to happen. So that's why I believe Black Panther matters. And yeah, so I hope you guys liked my video. Sorry if I rambled and things like that. I still am getting used to the talking to a camera and stuff like that. But if you guys have any topics you want me to talk about or any questions, please comment below, and I'll try to get to them and make videos on that. I would also link my article about Miles Morales in the bottom, so you guys could check it out and give it a read. I hope you guys like it, and I hope you guys like this video. All right, peace. See you soon. Bye.